This is the DEFCON Warning System, Strategic Threats and Global Stability Briefing. Current condition is blue, DEFCON 4. There are currently no imminent nuclear threats at this time. However, there are events occurring in the world theatre which require closer monitoring. Over the last week, we've seen a dramatic escalation across the Middle East and worrying military developments in Russia. I'm Sarah Martin, and here's your in-depth analysis. This week, the International Atomic Energy Agency formally declared that Iran is not complying with its nuclear safeguards. Citing the discovery of uranium trace materials at undeclared sites, the IAEA's board voted 19 in favour, 3 against, to rebuke Tehran. In response, Iran announced plans to construct a third uranium enrichment facility and has since begun construction, marking a significant intensification of its nuclear infrastructure. Amid the diplomatic breakdown, Israeli Air Force jets struck Iran's Natanz enrichment complex and additional research sites in Isfahan and Kondab. Satellite imagery shows underground centrifuge halls at Natanz remained intact, but above-ground power and support structures were heavily damaged. The IAEA's Rafael Grossi warned of potential radiological and chemical contamination from uranium hexafluoride inside Natanz, but confirmed radiation levels outside the facility remain within normal limits. While munitions disrupted key infrastructure, experts argue the attack did not eliminate Iran's broader nuclear capacity. Thousands of centrifuges remain buried underground, and major sites like Fordow continue to operate. Israel's Operation Rising Lion, reported to involve over 200 aircraft over multiple waves, also targeted military leadership and scientists. The result? A confirmed death toll of hundreds in Iran and rising casualty estimates on both sides. Meanwhile, the United States has moved aggressively to reassure Israel of its support. President Trump announced that the US will defend Israel from Iranian retaliation, and left open the possibility of American military involvement should Iran strike US forces. The carrier USS Nimitz was ordered toward the region, signaling Washington's readiness. Yet the United States categorically denied US participation in the Israeli strikes themselves, though acknowledged prior awareness and coordination. Iran, for its part, is warning it may target US, British, or French bases if they get involved. We'll examine broader global strategic implications after we recap developments in Europe and Russia. Turning north, Western analysts, including NATO chief Mark Rutte, warn that Russia is ramping up weapons production at a pace designed for prolonged confrontation. Rutte revealed that in just 3 months, Moscow produced as much ammunition as all NATO members do in an entire year. In 2025 alone, Russia is projected to produce roughly 1,500 battle tanks, 3,000 armoured vehicles, and 200 Iskander ballistic missiles, numbers that exceed NATO capacity. Mark Rutte warned at Chatham House that Russia could be capable of launching operations against NATO within 5 years unless the alliance rapidly expands defence spending and stockpiles. As a result, NATO leaders are pursuing a dramatic increase, raising air and missile defence spending by 400% and pushing members to boost overall defence budgets to 5% of GDP. This ramp-up utilises imported technology, including Chinese assistance and refurbished Soviet-era tanks, indicating wartime industrial mobilisation. Western security assessments suggest that Russia isn't preparing for a limited strike, but a sustained confrontation that avoids direct NATO-US combat, instead testing alliance unity and resolve. Next, we'll analyse what all this means for global stability and how these concurrent tensions in the Middle East and Europe might interact. Here's the global picture. Both theatres, teetering on collision courses, could intertwine. Russia's rearmament and Iran-Israel escalation share a strategic thread, a challenge to international order. Regional conflict in Middle East may disrupt global energy. Oil markets responded immediately after Israeli strikes. US defense commitment complicates Iran's game. Tehran may escalate toward US facilities, widening conflict risk. NATO's military production goals reflect fear of hybrid warfare. Limited combat aimed to undercut alliance cohesion. If Tehran and Moscow feel cornered, they may act in coordination or create crises simultaneously to exploit divided Western attention. A clash could cascade. Missiles in the Middle East draw US forces. NATO engagement could embolden Russia. Energy shocks reinforce both. This cascading crisis is central to our DEFCON risk modelling. Key risks to watch in the next week. Any retaliatory strike by Iran on US facilities. Israeli follow-on strikes, potentially on Fordow or Bushehr. Russian moves amid heavy munitions production, possibly shadow strikes or cyber targeting of NATO infrastructure. The DEFCON warning system is a private intelligence organisation that has monitored nuclear threats from national actors since 1984. It is unaffiliated with any government or military branch and does not represent the official alert status of any nation. The public is advised to make independent evaluations and should not rely solely on the DEFCON warning system for strategic or emergency planning. In the event of a nuclear conflict, we will publish radiation readings from reported areas. These readings may differ from local measurements. Official sources will also issue regional data and public safety instructions. That concludes our briefing. Subscribe to the DEFCON Warning System channel for daily updates on strategic threats and global stability. I'm Sarah Martin. Stay informed, stay alert, stay prepared.